Hello and welcome to week 15 of building Kamino. Last week we finished up this command center type room or control room. I already forgot what I called it. But today we are going to be moving on to bigger and better things. My plan for this episode is to basically do the front of Kamino. And basically what that means is connect this section here to that section here, and I know they're not at the same height. I'll deal with that soon, but what I want to do first is basically create the roof to this section here and push it back there. You will see the roof quite prominently in the intro, which is starting right now.
Move it, troopers! On the double! Fire!
Okay, if you saw from that intro, basically the roof has these kind of like square designs. I think it's probably the most like recognizable part of roof of Kamino, if that makes sense, out of the whole mock. And I basically created this to represent it. Just these kind of like dark bluish grey rectangles surrounded by light bluish grey, which I will then kind of twist and place down into here to create basically that upturned roof look. And I'm going to basically curve that around and send it straight back down over there. Okay, so after a quick little bit of building, well, it wasn't quick, it took quite a while to get it all right, but you can see I now have a long layer of plate stretching right across the top of this mock. I also decided to plate off the top of the barracks. This is, as for now, how this section is looking. It's still a little bit wobbly because I haven't quite connected it down there yet, because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that as of now, but that will be connected relatively soon. And then we need to figure out what's gonna go on with the roof. I have no idea, because this like layer down here is much lower than this layer down here, and I don't know if I just want to start plating over the top, but then that's awkward on this wall. It's gonna be an interesting thing to work out, but what I want to work on now is absolutely the connection between those two layers of plate. Okay, in order to make this look slightly less bland, I've basically taken a big row of these bracket pieces and put them all around the outside of this little balcony area. I might keep pushing it down there, but we'll see how we go for now. I'm not sure what pattern to go with on this, but basically it's just some kind of just a little way I can make this look a little bit more detailed without really adding too much to it. I'm having a slight issue with the corner though, because basically I've got this gap to basically fill in, but my 1x1 bracket piece only goes either one way, so it's either there or it's there. It can't do both. So I'm not quite sure how I'd be able to fix that, if there's actually a way or not. If you know a way, let me know. But besides that, I'm kind of stuck in this little position here. So I'll just go with that one for now, and then just hopefully when I connect them up it won't look too bad. Okay, so I've basically come up with some kind of design to put on this side. It's not like hugely detailed or original or whatever, but yeah, it's basically just one of these 1x4 modified plates or tiles or whatever, and then put a 2x2 tile in between each one. So it's basically like a 2-tile gap in between each stud, and that basically just runs down the whole thing and acts as a nice little form of detail. I need to get a couple more of them to put in there, but besides that, it's all good. The issue with the little gap is still prevalent, and still I'm not sure how I'm going to fix that, or if there's any like piece I can use to just jam in there that's like, yeah, I don't know what to do there. It's annoying that like the most prominent part of where they connect is where the issue is, but if you don't look at it too closely and just look at this area, then it does look quite good. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. This area here I'm not too happy with. There's just something off with it to me. I don't know what it is precisely, but I will try and figure that out and try and improve it just now and get back to you after. Okay, so you can see here I've quickly gotten rid of all of the detail I had on this slight wall here. Basically I'm just going to try and reconfigure that wall basically to try and get as much greebling detail up this as I possibly can try and just really like fill it from bottom to top with tons of different details while still keeping some dark bluish grey visible from beneath. So I may have to do a quick disassembly and then reassembly just to make it look a little bit more interesting up in this area especially. So yeah, let's get to work on that right now. Okay, so after a quick gribble sesh, I guess you can call it, I have now pretty much finished up this wall here. I really like how it looked, just try and make it look as technical and detailed as possible. I don't think it's over the top. I think I haven't like completely overfilled it. I think it's got just the right amount of detail. Instead of the dishes, I put in these like larger cylinder pieces, which I believe came in the most recent X-Wing. Some nice ingots. This section I already had before, but I just liked it, so I kept a hold of it. And then I've got these four kind of like spinny engine things down here. And then I kind of just like little base to it, so it sits out a little bit further, kind of like how the stairs do here. This bit sits out a little bit further. And yeah, I've got another little doodad up here, just to add something else to the build, I guess. But anyway, time to move on to this room over here, which I've been trying to figure out what to do with for a very long time. The first thing I just had to do was fill up this little gap over here so that I've got like a main room, and I put in this kind of vent design. I've had this vent design for quite a while and I've always just really liked it. It does slightly cover up one of these squares, but besides that I just think it's a really cool little build when I actually put it together the whole way. There you go, now it looks a lot better. But yeah, I just think that's a really cool vent and works really nicely in this whole section. Time to do this room then. Okay, so after a little bit of playing around, I've come up with this design for this wall. Just like a large window with a nice rim around the edge, just to kind of have some like commanders or whatnot looking down onto the troops. This isn't necessarily final. Like a lot of people suggested to put a balcony in here because this was an actual room in the Battlefront 2 map. So let me know in the comments if you do indeed like this look, or if you'd want me to change it to that like raised platform or balcony type area. I just don't want to do too many balconies because there's kind of a similar balcony running around the whole outside. But yeah, that's how the window looks just now. It would have been probably cool to maybe get that level with that air vent, but you know, we're gonna have something coming up over here, so I think it's okay having the air vent a little bit lower down. Speaking of that, the next thing we need to do, if you can basically see here that this wall, which we'd already built, is much lower than that window level. So basically I need to get this floor up to this height, and if you can see here, there isn't really enough space here to get another room in. I think that's what, like 3 bricks and a plate high. So I may try and like get some kind of detail in here, but I think for the time being what I need to do is try and make a wall from this plate here up to the top, this whole way around, to try and get some kind of consistent height, because I don't want just this to, if I quickly flip this around for you, you can see here that I kind of want to create some, I don't want to just have like a flat blank light bluish grey wall all along here, because that'll look really boring. So I want to try and get some kind of detail that I can kind of keep quite consistent going down this axis as well. So let's try and find something to put in there. Okay, so after a little bit of playing around, I'm pretty sure I've decided to settle on these dark bluish grey bar pieces to represent like the railing going the whole way around. Purely largely because of this side, how we've got that large light bluish, dark bluish grey bars going across a light bluish grey background, and I'll later put a light bluish grey wall behind this, and I just think that'll keep a nice consistency between the two levels. As you can see here, it doesn't quite cover up all of it, so I may do a little bit more detailing right on the top, but I think this is quite consistent to go around both sides. I'm not hugely happy with the corner, and just, yeah, it just doesn't really quite work, so I might have to play around with this a little bit more just to figure out how I'm going to do that corner, but besides that I'm pretty happy with this, so let's keep working at it. Okay then, so after a little bit of time, you can see I've basically changed up how I decided to do these railings. I basically pushed them forward and angled them forward a little bit to kind of just create a bit more nicer shaping in this room and continue that sci-fi Star Wars-y look. And I put inverted slopes along the top of all of this level, purely just to keep it stronger when I actually put this top layer on, to give myself more studs to attach to, and I really like the look of it. This corner I'm not totally happy with. You can see here I've got like this railing which I can maybe like stick behind here, but who knows what I'm going to do for that exactly as per now. But I'm still quite happy with the current look of it, and I'm ready to keep building up. You can see here we're still not quite at the same level. We need to get like a couple bricks here to basically meet this level here, and then that'll all be good. So my next plan is to basically build that and see what kind of design we come up with next. Okay, we're really stepping it up now. You can see here that I've now brought this layer of plates to the layer where this main platform is. Basically the other detailing I did, it wasn't that intense. It was these dark bluish grey masonry brick, but turned around, so they've just got that line, just for that last slither of detail, because not many people are actually going to see up here. And then I've got a placement for where the roof is going to go. You can see here there is an empty gap for this room, which I've still not detailed for some reason, but I did create this small platform to act as like a temporary little roof, which slips right on top like that and can be taken out whenever I need to. Now it's time to actually put on the roof of this thing, which is not something I was expecting to get to this episode, but I got a lot done relatively quickly, so let's put on the roof then. And there we have it, a roof is now on. I've used these large 8x8 grill plates type thing, basically, so when you look at it from underneath, it does have some kind of consistent roof pattern to it. The reason I use these grill plates is for actually a very specific reason, because they have these Technic pin size holes in each of them. It means I can utilize my lights to get lights into this main hangar. I'm not sure how many lights I'm going to fit in. The dream situation would be to put in 9 in each of these, but I just don't have that many lights, and I don't really want to spend that much money on getting them all in. But for the time being, this is what we've got in terms of lights, and this light is for another particular room. And when I switch this on, which is like that, you can then see that it does light up this room. Even when I take away the main lights, there is still lighting down into this room from those 3 spotlights, giving the Kamino hangar a really different feel. I know in the actual Kamino episode, this room was a majority red in color, so let's get red lights in just to see how that looks. And there it is when those lights are red. Now I really think this looks a lot more like the show did. I think that's a really cool look, basically just putting some trans red studs underneath those lights. Yeah, I'm just in love with this look. Maybe it could be a little bit brighter. Let me know if you think I should put a couple more lights in here, because I do have a few more spots to put them in. This corner especially is looking particularly dark, so that may need a little bit of work. Okay, new plan. You can see now that I have got quite a lot of this section looking very red, if I do say so myself. And it's kind of more like a slight lighter red, but you can definitely see everything that's going on here a lot more clearer. And basically what I've done is I've taken my light, which I use for most of my videos, and basically just used that as my light instead of those tiny little lights, and basically shown it straight through one of these trans red. I know now that I don't really need to do that in most of them, so I can just take them back. But you can see that just through that alone, it really gives that red look to this room that I was looking for. And I don't need to spend the probably like the 30 quid of lights it would have cost me to finish up this section. I can now just get it for no difference. And I've got those lights which were in there, which I can now put into other rooms. So that's cool. I've got a place to put them. I also switched up this area. You can't see it that clearly right now, so I will show it to you in a better light. I wasn't too happy with how that command area was looking that I was talking about before, so I have gone back to that balcony design a lot of people suggested, and I do really quite like the look. You can see I put another door in the back here, which I put in every single section of this mock it seems at this point, and I'll put another one of those white design patterns on top of it. I've gone for this kind of snot wall using arches. You can see even copies around to that side there, where I've basically put arches, both inverted and the regular sized up, just held in with these kind of panel type pieces. And I've just put light bluish grey tiles in between to give this really like nice design, which I think that's what I'm trying to do in Kamino, just get tons of different wall designs in, just so it looks really cool, and also just standard 2x2 tiles. This railing is made up with roller coaster pieces, which I think is nice and a bit different, and it does work as a simulation of that railing and balcony section you do see in the Battlefront 2 game. So even though the wall isn't the same design, that's kind of just my own thing. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and now I don't have that issue with how the window before didn't line up to that vent. It's kind of its own thing now, which I think looks really cool. So let's finally hit that finale. And there you have it, basically what I think I'm going to be calling a Kamino mega episode, because we got so much done this week. We got this entire roof section done and the main roof itself. I didn't tell you before, but this is actually removable, so I can take it out if I want to. We did all the inside of that roof as well, all along the sides here. We put in this balcony, we put in that vent, well we put another wall in here, but we took that out. And we also did this small design down here as well. We got a ton of stuff done, and I'm really happy with all of it. If you liked all of the stuff we got done this week, like the video, that's what the like button's there for. Comment your favourite thing we got done this week. Oh, for me it could be anything. I'm just really happy with how my lighting's actually ended up looking. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because Kamino's not stopping anytime soon. We've got a lot of stuff to get done, and with the Bad Batch launching next week, I believe it was leaked that the first episode is set on Kamino. So I'm gonna have a ton of new stuff that I could potentially build as part of the mock in the upper layer. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. Thanks so much for watching, as always. I really do appreciate it, and goodbye. Okay, and to wrap up this week's episode of Building Kamino, we have the clone count, only 5 today. From left to right, we've got Brit, then we've got Corporal Cam, then we've got Pigs in a Blanket, then we've got a guy who wanted his clone to be named Trevor from the Kamino Accounts Department, and then finally we've got Burrito Boy Bricks. To get your own name in the clone count, all you need to do is show up to one of my live streams, and when the clone count segment comes along, just ask for a name clone. Just tell them what you want me to name them and an accessory. Thanks so much for watching again this week's episode of Building Kamino, and goodbye.